This is Linnea, and you're listening to Without Your Head, which I've done in a lot of movies. Have a good day, and stay scared.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by the director of Peelers, Seve Schelenz. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing there, Nasty Neil?
I'm good, thanks. And even better now, since I'm talking to you. So,
Awesome.
I enjoyed Peelers a lot. It's a very fun movie, and there's a review of it up on our website, which you're listening to right now. But for people who aren't familiar yet, could you give an idea what the movie is?
Yes, it's a movie about a little girl who has magical red shoes, and when she... Oh, wait a second. That's not our movie at all. Actually, our movie is an independent horror film, and it's about the closing night of a small-town strip club when some unwanted guests arrive and all hell breaks loose.
Mm-hmm. And that's the DVD and Blu-ray comes out on the 4th of July, which is pretty cool. And it's out now on video on demand, I believe, on different websites.
That's right. In the U.S., it's on VOD, and on July 4th, obviously, Independence Film Day, we'll be launching our DVD and Blu-ray, and we've got a crap load of extras.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's pretty cool. You get deleted seeds. What is Getting Ahead?
So that's one of the extra segments on the DVD. So Getting Ahead is one of the characters in the film gets decapitated. So we show you how that head gets made and how we perform the effect.
Very cool. Very cool. And is there a commentary track, I believe? Yes.
Actually, not just one, but two. There is the commentary track with myself and the writer, Lisa DeVita, who's a fucking crazy lady. And the other commentary track is with Blue Jean, who's played by Ren Walker, Remy, who's played by Kaz Odendarko, and myself. So not one, two commentary tracks.
Very cool. I myself am a huge fan of commentary tracks. When they're good, which seems kind of a stupid thing to say, obviously. If they're bad, you wouldn't be a fan of them. But I think fun commentary tracks or interesting commentary tracks can really add to your enjoyment of the movie after you watch it.
Yeah, I agree. The thing with me, when I'm listening to commentary tracks, I'm always asking questions in my head. I hope they explain this. I hope they explain that. And when they don't, when they're just sort of laughing amongst each other and just going, oh, you remember this scene? And they're reminiscing. I'm like, okay, I want information. How did you make that happen?
Right.
And those are the ones that I enjoy the most. So hopefully we try to give a little bit more of that. But it was actually quite hard because with our actors, they'd only seen the film twice at that point because we hadn't officially launched it yet. We were still making all the behind the scenes. I had seen it obviously about 100 times because I was the editor, maybe even 1,000 times at that point. So when we started the commentary with the actors, they just sat there and just stared at the screen because they were watching their performances. And I'm like, no, you need to speak. So I had to nudge them all the time to keep going.
Well, maybe something different, something new, a silent commentary track.
Yeah, I guess, imagine that, a commentary track for a silent film. That would actually be interesting, too.
It would be interesting, yeah. It's weird because I've had some independent filmmakers on the show who actually said that they learned a lot about filmmaking by listening to commentary tracks on different movies. Absolutely.
My first film, which is called Skew, my first indie horror film, it's a feature film, and it was a found footage sort of genre. It's not fully found footage. It's a bit complicated. You have to see it to know what I'm talking about. But I actually watched Blair Witch Project like 6 times with the commentary track on because I wanted to learn how they did certain things. And I learned something new every single time I listened to it.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And were you always a horror movie fan?
You know, horror was not my big thing. I was all over the map. Comedy was always my big thing. But I like all genres. I like horror, I like comedy, I like drama. The reason I got into horror, it's actually quite strange. I wanted to do a feature film. I've been in film for quite some time. And I thought to myself, I need to do a feature film. You know, I had the itch. I'm a creative guy. And I actually went on a road trip with 3 other friends. And on that road trip, 2 other friends, so there was 3 in total. And on that road trip, I came up with this concept for a horror film. And I wrote it, really rough draft, in the 4 days of driving. It was a road trip from the West Coast to the East Coast. And finished the rough draft in 4 days, went back and fixed up. And 6 months later, I had a full finished script, and that film became Skew, my first independent feature horror. And when I finished it, my sales agent came to me and said, "What do you got next?" And I said, "Look, I got a comedy I want to work on." He's like, "No, no, 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 no. You need to work on horror because your first film did pretty good."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Okay, well, what sells?" I asked him, and he said, "Well, what really sells is more blood, because I didn't have a lot of blood in Skew. It was more of an anticipation type horror film, more of a classic film. And he says, more boobs." And I thought, okay, well, I can definitely put the blood in there, and I'd like to put boobs in there, but I need a reason for that."
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, where would boobs be? A strip club. And that's kind of where Peelers came from.
Huh. Very cool. And you mentioned Lisa DeVita. So had you worked with her before? How did you guys get together to write this screenplay?
Yeah, Lisa was working in the industry, and we were working at the same place on one of my sort of, quote, paid gigs. I'm also a colorist on the side. So she was working there, and she was a screenwriter. So we got to talking, and I said, "Look, I've got this idea for my second horror film. It's on a strip club, and would you be interested?" And her eyes lit up, and she thought, "Oh my God, I totally want to do this." And I thought, okay, here's a girl that wants to write a stripper horror film. I said, okay, go with it. And so she told me this story. She was in Las Vegas a few years before that, and she was actually at a strip club, and I'm like, this is cool. And she went by herself, and I'm like, that's even cooler. And she said she was there, and a fight broke out. And so there was beer bottles and fists flying, and someone grabbed her and pulled her under the table, and she ended up slamming sort of her chin on the table.
Wow.
She got, I think, a beer bottle maybe sort of bounced off her head. And so anyway, she popped her head back up, and all the strippers were gone. And she thought, where did the strippers go? And the reason, of course, is safety. You gotta get the strippers away. And right away she imagined, what if the strippers came out with baseball bats and guns and weapons and just beat the shit out of everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And she thought that would be a great idea for a horror film. And from that's kind of where the two ideas came together, and she wrote the script.
Huh. Are any of the actual like strippers, like their little act, because each one has a different act, are any of those based on any real strippers or any like real acts that either of you read about or seen?
Absolutely not. No, those all come from the demented mind of Lisa. I call Lisa DeVietz, so that's I might say DeVietz once in a while, but yeah, it's all from DeVietz's mind. She just thought of some of the craziest things that you might want to see on stage, or maybe not want to see on stage,
Right.
depending on what your fetish is.
I really like the shot near the beginning when you kind of pan through the strip club and you kind of introduce all the characters. It kind of reminds me like a Bronx Tale or Goodfellas, where you introduce everybody quickly through the strip club. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I always intended to have that kind of Scorsese shot at the beginning, and to follow through. And Swingers, actually, they do a shout out to Scorsese as well. And that film, it's the same thing when they're going through the back of the restaurant. And we didn't want to reveal Blue Jean's face right away, and that's why that shot's kind of behind her. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I find it a really cool shot, and to be in a horror film and in a strip club, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, not only is it a good shot, but it's good because it sets up the characters. Because you do a good job in the movie where everyone has a character, and you kind of know a little bit about everyone's background, and so it makes you more attached to the characters when they get killed or something happens to them.
Absolutely, and it also shows kind of the layout of the club, so you get an idea of where each room is, so that when you're watching, okay, does this make sense? Where is everybody? So yeah, for sure, it reveals quite a bit in that shot.
Yeah, there's I don't want to like spoil the movie, but like you're saying there, but it kind of shows where the rooms are. There's also some shots that reveals that like there are weapons here, so you kind of know they're going to be used. And just my favorite one is the introduction of a chainsaw. It's right at the beginning, so it's not but it's so like obvious, like this really makes no sense in a way, but it totally works in the movie. If you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, I totally get what you're saying. I mean, in films, and especially in horror films, and typically in action films too, they sort of set up certain weapons just to make sure that they're there. And we did a few twists with the weapons to kind of say, hey, here's the weapon. So the audience goes, oh, great. They're showing us the weapon. It's going to, be used later on. But sometimes those weapons may not have worked the way they were supposed to work. So we try to do a twist on that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you're casting a movie with about strippers in a horror movie, is it hard at all to get actresses? Maybe they don't want to play a stripper and do a lot of the stripping scenes.
We thought ahead of time, how are we going to get actresses to come in and be comfortable getting nude in this film when it's an indie film and you have a very low budget, and this was our second indie horror feature. You want to build a trust. And so we thought, well, should we get actresses who are going to be strippers, or we should get strippers who can act? Well, I don't know of any strippers who can act, so we decided to go with the whole actors that can strip. And surprisingly, we had a lot of people come up for the roles. And I think the reason why we had so many is because we already had our first indie film called Skew under our belt. And we had auditions actually at a professional production house. So we didn't do it like in my basement where it was all kind of weird and crazy with one couch,
Yeah.
And we had some great turnouts. And funny enough, in the film, there's one particular character who doesn't strip. And I don't want to give the reason why because it is a bit of a spoiler. But that actress came to me halfway through production. We were on set, and she begged for me to rewrite a scene for her where she actually does a striptease. So she wanted to reveal her body, which I thought was pretty funny. So we definitely built a good camaraderie amongst all the actors and the crew.
Yeah, definitely. Which would you say, like, what character was like the hardest to cast? Like you had someone, specific in mind, that needed certain aspects to play the character.
Oh, without a doubt, our lead character, our main protagonist, Blue Jean, she had to be a strong character, both mentally and physically. She needed to exude that. So she had to be conditioned. She had to be her body had to be, looking like she works out. She had to be able to throw a baseball in the film because she has a passion for baseball. She had to be able to look like she took care of a club, took care of all these employees under her. She had to be sort of a mother figure. She had to be beautiful. I mean, there were so many things that she had to be, and Ren Walker was Blue Jean. It took us a while to find the right person for that role. And a lot of people came in and read for different roles, and sometimes we said, no, you would fit this role better. So we had a few Blue Jeans come in, but they weren't Blue Jean. Ren Walker was Blue Jean for sure.
Mm-hmm. What was it about her specifically? Just all the things you mentioned there?
Definitely all the things that I mentioned. There's also a bit of confidence with her as an actress, and she exuded that in her character. She actually came in on a whim. When you're doing indie film, you just get the word out there to everybody that we need people to come in and audition. And I believe she saw that one on Craigslist, and she came in because her boyfriend said, you really should go read for this. And she thought, nah. So when she came in and then she got the call to come back for another reading, she thought, okay, this is great. I'll probably just get like a side character like the cop, because there's a female cop in the film. And then when we told her, no, you're Blue Jean, she was over the moon. It was amazing.
Yeah. And she's also likable, which most of the characters are. And I think sometimes in horror movies, if the characters aren't likable, which happens a lot, I think you don't really care what happens to them.
I agree. It's funny too. I agree that almost all the characters are likable. Sometimes even if you don't mean to do it on purpose, one doesn't turn out to be likable, and you're trying to sort of fix that through editing or on set or change a few lines here and there. But at the end, when the film is done, you don't really 100% know how it's all going to lay out. You've got an idea. But yeah, we tried to make each one of them likable. And a lot of it has to do with just at the beginning of the film, get them so your audience, again, using the same word, likes them right away. If you have them sort of as an ass or someone that you don't like right off the bat, like within the first 5 minutes, you're sort of now got a huge hill to climb. You want to start off on a good level, and that's kind of what we did with all our characters.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Skew a few times. We'll get back to Peelers, but what was Skew about, and how can people find that?
Yeah, Skew is about 3 friends that go on a road trip and they don't come back. And essentially, one of the characters has a video camera, so he's shooting the whole time. I wrote that one back in 2004 and shot in 2005. Took a few years to finish. So by 2011, it was out there. We hit the festival circuit, and we should be available, I believe, on iTunes through the U.S. and a few of the other countries as well. It was a great experience for me at the time. Found footage was not sort of a big thing. The Blair Witch had happened. Obviously, there's a few before that, and everyone was over the moon for found footage. And then there was a huge backlash, and that went away. And then at the time, I wanted to make a film because it was cheap for me to make a found footage film. And it was okay to look cheap. It was fine. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go in and make a Hollywood film with no money, and then the audience would go, well, that looks cheap. It's not supposed to. So that was why I actually did a film in that vein, a POV film. And yeah, it did well. It's funny, by the time we finished it, a number of other films came out in between production, and by the time it hit the shelf, Cloverfield came out, Romero's...
Diary of the Dead.
Yes, that came out. There was a few of films. I think Wreck had come out around that time as well. So by the time we were finished, found footage was back up again, and it was kind of on the cusp of a backlash. But yeah, it did well. We had a good showing.
Yeah, I think some of that backlash is because of movies like Cloverfield, where instead of out of necessity, like you were saying, it's kind of an interesting way to make a movie with not much money. Then they started to make like big budget movies with found footage, and I don't think it ever really made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think the other backlash is there's not too many angles you can take found footage. I mean, there's certain things you've got to hit in the story writing, and certain shots you have to make happen. And there's always that question: is why don't they just put the camera down? Why are they keep filming this?
Right.
But the answer is always, well, if they don't film it, you don't have a movie. So you always have to find ways of making sure that they hold on to that camera.
Yeah, and I've seen some where it doesn't even make sense why it's made in found footage, or why certain things are being recorded. It's like they're just recording themselves for like 24/7.
Right, yeah. I know what you're saying. Funny enough, I haven't seen a ton of found footage films. Of the ones I saw, I really liked it because when I first saw Blair Witch Project, what really got to me is how realistic it felt. Like it's like you're right there. You don't feel like you're on set and there's lights and there's a crew around you. It just feels so real life. I remember as a kid, what got me into film was my parents bought me a VHS cam. Maybe I'm showing my age here, but at the time I was shooting all my friends with this camera and running around, and that footage looked like Blair Witch Project because you're just kind of making it as you go. And that, I guess, there was a little personal connection and a real feel to it. And I think that's what made Blair Witch, I wouldn't say scary, but there was a sense of anticipation in that film, and that's what kept me on edge while I watched it.
Yeah, I think it was scary for the time. It's kind of hard to go back to if you didn't see it like when it first came out. Then you had all the stuff around it where some people actually thought it was real and everything.
Totally, I agree. Yeah.
You mentioned your parents getting you the VHS recorder. Have they seen your movies? Have they seen Skew and Peelers?
Well, it's funny you should ask. I mean, Peelers is a stripper horror film, so how often do you want to say, hey, Mom, Dad, come watch a stripper horror film and sit beside me while you watch it. Let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, so. It's not awkward at all.
Yeah, not at all. But they support me, and they've seen both my films. And matter of fact, we had our world premiere of Peelers in Florida, and they flew down there and met with me and some of the actors who came out for that. And yeah, they enjoyed it. It's funny. Again, we're talking about parents, and my mother's not really big into profanity or nudity,
Right.
And but she sat through it, and good job, son. So it was it was quite good. And on top of it, they're extras in the film.
Oh, really? That's pretty wild.
Yeah, they came out at the time we were shooting, and they played two patrons. And my mother actually gets the biggest laughs because she plays an old lady who's knitting on the table, and she gets a few laughs in the film.
Yeah. Did you film it in like an actual strip club?
No. Finding a location was really hard. Again, indie film, you're just making cold calls to see what you can get. And we found this location, which was a bar that had just closed down. They let us use the place. We negotiated a rate. They let us come in there. All that was in there was the bar and a small stage. We expanded on the stage, and we built false walls. And in the film, we have a kitchen, we have an office, we have a VIP lounge, we have a dressing room. We created all that through these false walls and some of the props we brought in. The only one thing they said is you can do whatever you want in the place because we're going to demolish it at the end, which obviously is awesome to hear as an indie filmmaker because you, with a horror film, you are beat the crap out of a place. They just said no holes to the outside walls. So we thought, oh, cool, we can do that.
All right, well, makes sense. So when you're getting like props and stuff, because you want to make a place look like lived in, like where do you go about getting that stuff? Is it like from people's house, or do you go to like thrift shops, or?
A lot of that stuff is from my own home, the writer's home. We went to Craigslist one day before shooting. I was in my car driving around, and the writer was at home, and she went on Craigslist. And anytime an ad popped on and said, "Oh, free stuff," so she would just tell me the location. I would drive there as quickly as possible and throw stuff in my car, because stuff for like the Blue Jeans office was always great to find at a yard sale. So that was one of the things we did. The second thing we did, and this is actually a pretty cool story, in the kitchen, we needed industrial kitchen items. I mean, we needed island tables, we needed a grill, we needed these huge sinks. I mean, I don't know anything about industrial kitchen equipment. So again, got on the internet, got on the phone, made some cold calls, tried to figure out some places where we can possibly rent these or get them for free, because that's really what you wanted. You need favors when you're making indie film. And I found a place where they rent this equipment out. And I went there and negotiated with the guy. It was a little expensive, but as I was there, this other guy walked in. And I'm like, "I recognize you." And he's like, "Yeah, of course. We play in the same ball league." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Now I know you." And he goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Well, I rent and sell industrial kitchen equipment." And I'm like, So I took him to the side and I said, "Listen, I needed this." And he was like, "Don't worry. Whatever you want for free, come by." So I got all of this industrial kitchen equipment totally for free from just somebody I randomly met when I was somewhere out looking to get material. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, now there's both a lot of gore in the movie and like gross out stuff. Do you have to think what percentage of kind of gross out stuff like projectile vomiting and stuff, and how much gore you want in the movie?
That's pretty funny. The percentage of projectile vomiting. I mean, the trailer shows so much vomiting. The movie has so much vomiting in it. It's over the top vomiting, and I laugh every time I see it. But it's awesome. The percentage of it, well, I think that gets broken down to the script. I think when the writer's writing the script, she came up with some crazy, wild ideas and came to me with some scenes. I literally had to say, "No, we can't do that. Either rewrite that or we'll cut that out." So we had some additional kills in the film, which we couldn't have because we would have went way over budget. Right. So the ones that are in the film, I mean, there's a lot of kills in the film. When the killing starts in the film, it's relentless. The action keeps going on and on and on and on. And when you look at the film, you think, wow, they must have had a big budget for a lot of the stuff. So we spent the money on the stuff that we needed to sort of fill in the spaces and give you the best kills when the kills are happening, and then just keep the action going. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot of that from editing. But the percentage of blood and gore, you just don't have the money to do a full out from start to end. Plus, you don't want to do that. You need to give your audience a bit of a break once in a while. Kill, break kind of thing. So that's kind of the balance of it.
Mm-hmm. What goes into making vomit for film?
That's the secret recipe of our special effects supervisor, Kier Vickert. He came up with this formula for it, and in the film, the vomit is a crazy vomit. It's a black vomit, but he wanted to keep it kind of chunky, so he put some fruit, like smashed up bananas and some other items in the vomit to keep some thickness to it. That sort of backfired on us a little bit because it looked great on the shot, but since we were shooting on location for about 14 days, the fruit flies started to come out about the third day in, and they swarmed the set. So we had to constantly clean things up as much as possible to avoid that.
Yeah, just adds to the atmosphere. Yeah. No, I've seen some people say it's a zombie movie, which I don't agree with, but do you consider it a zombie movie?
It's funny. I think that you don't have to follow all the rules if you understand the rules, and if you break the rules, then it's okay. And that's what we wanted to do with this film. We wanted to break the rules, and it's definitely getting lumped into that zombie category because people need to lump it in somewhere. I mean, it's an infection film if you want to look at it that way. What's the film called? The Crazies?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? It has a sense a
I
feeling
was
of
thinking the same
that, where
thing.
there's an infection, and then it's sort of these guys go crazy and they start to kill everybody. So we kind of wanted to do that, and then we wanted to throw in a few of the ideas of the zombies, and the whole, killing them in the head sort of comes up as a question in the film. And again, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, and we sort of laid that seed for the audience, and I think we twisted that as well to keep people on edge and entertain the audience.
I think that's kind of cool anyway, because everyone has to know about zombies, so the people in the movie, like, hey, maybe these are zombies, we'll kill them, shoot them in the head. It's not like they're dumb and they don't know, they've never seen a zombie movie or a zombie TV show.
Yeah, it's that fine line, right? When you're a character in a film and you have to react to something, and what do you have as a basis to react to? So for them to recognize a zombie as much as them to say, like, oh, who's the president of today, and to use a real name. So it's definitely a line. It's a hard line to cross. But we set up a few things in the film where something happened with the characters where they get hit in the head, and that's why the characters say, well, this is how we deal with them. And again, I don't want to say too much, because Peelers has so much stuff that if I say one thing, it spoils one thing, but at the same time, I need to promote the film, so trying to find the balance of what it is. It's going to get easier for me as I do interviews, because when the film's finally out there, then and everyone has seen the film, then I can start revealing more spoilers.
Yeah. So you mentioned your parents went to the premiere of the movie. What was it like for you to see your movie and with an audience, on the festivals?
It was awesome. I've been to probably 10 different screenings of the film at festivals, and our best screening we had was in Leeds, which is in the northern UK. We were part of this, the Leeds Film Festival, a huge festival there, and they had this thing called, and I might say it wrong, but I believe it was called Night of the Dead, and they had a Day of the Dead. And so they had 4 horror films in a row starting at 10 p.m., and we were the third film. So the first film was The Autopsy of Jane Doe. The second film was The Void. And the third film was us. So the crowd was packed, and they served alcohol there. So by about 4 in the morning is when they screened our film. And it's great because The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a little more serious, and then The Void is a little out there. And then they came to our film, and being an action horror film and a little more lighthearted in terms of comedy. We had a great response. Everyone was laughing. We had a Q&A afterwards, and everyone really dug the film. Our Q&A is an intro to the film as well. We sort of put on an event. We get everybody involved in the film. We ask questions. Even though people ask us questions, we sort of put people on the spot, and everyone has a good laugh. So Leeds was a great screening, and we also screened in Spain in a festival called Sitges International Film Festival, and it was, again, amazing. The crazy one about that is, of course, you're in a country where everyone speaks Spanish, and we didn't have subtitles on the film. There was a bit of a mix-up at the time of the screening, so I think half the people understood the film, and the other half just enjoyed it because there was so much blood and boobs.
Yeah. Well, as long as they enjoyed it, it's the main thing. I think it's pretty cool that they would enjoy it, even if they might not be able to understand it.
Exactly, yeah. People just had such a good time with it, yeah.
Yeah. Now, since you've been on the festivals and you made these 2 horror movies, have you grown to like horror movies more?
Oh, I've always liked horror films. It was just not my sort of number one thing to go with.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about horror films is that I don't think I'll be as educated as everybody else on it. There's so many horror lovers out there. There's so many horror podcasts and interview sites like yourself. You guys have a full understanding of so many aspects of horror, and there's so much to talk about with different films and different subgenres of horror. And new things come up and new questions come up, even about your question about the zombies and whether they're really zombies or not. I mean, that's a huge debate that can be talked about for hours over beer. And I find it's incredible how much passion and love there is for horror, and fans, they just love horror so much that they tend to buy the DVDs and the Blu-rays and debate about it, and that's something that's been incredible. Whereas if you make a drama or a comedy, you don't necessarily get that huge a crowd out to see it and that knowledge base. So yeah, doing 2 horror films fantastic. I have a following already. I have quote fans, and I always laugh at that. That people are
Yeah.
following me, and I just think that's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah. I don't think there's like a drama convention.
No, you don't hear of too many drama conventions.
Yeah.
People are lining up to get signatures from who I don't even know who at a drama like
Yeah.
Oscar winners. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Drama cosplay and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dressing up as your favorite character. And I guess you could for the Titanic or something, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know.
Uh-huh. So what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Well, the one that got me as a kid was Halloween. That was the one. Slasher films was my thing growing up. Halloween was a big one. I love The Thing. That's a big one too. I like The Omen. I'm definitely in a lot of the classic horror films for sure.
Yeah. So I have to ask, what did you think of The Void? Because some people have said it's similar to The Thing.
Well, the guys who created The Void, they're from up north here in Canada, so I've yet to meet these guys.
Oh, really?
I'm up here as well. They've made quite a few films, these guys. Astron 6?
Yeah,
I
Astron
think
6.
Yeah. They're definitely out there. They're demented. They've got some crazy ideas. I've seen A Father's Day, which was very bloody, very out there.
That's probably one of my favorites by now.
Yeah, the last 15 minutes of that film is just batshit crazy. I mean, it's way out there. I was hot and cold with the film. I thought I don't want to spoil too much on their film either. I thought some of the sort of creature stuff was quite incredible. I thought the storyline was okay. Some of it was a bit confusing. Again, I saw that in a marathon of 4 films, so I might not have been fully awake or fully sober at the time that I saw it. But it was okay. Yeah, it was okay. Props for them for making it. I mean, now with so many films under their belt, they have a huge following. Good for them. I mean, anybody that can make and finish a film, hats off. I mean, it's such a hard thing to do. So, I think my favorite film of theirs was probably Father's Day so far.
Yeah, I like The Editor too. I don't know if you've seen that one, but it's very similar vibe to Father's Day.
I haven't seen that. Funny enough, in Father's Day, the main bad guy, can't think of the character's name, but that actor auditioned for our film. His name was Mackenzie, and he auditioned for Peelers, and we had a scene that he's in. He plays a drunken patron, and we had to cut that scene out in the edit room because for timing on the film, and it makes it to the DVD extras of the deleted scenes. So we have a connection with Astron 6 that way.
Oh, very cool. And just a cheap plug for people listening, maybe for the first time, you could go through our archives and listen to a couple interviews with those guys.
Yeah, they must be entertaining to interview, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, definitely. So what are some of the other specials that we didn't mention on the Blu-ray or the DVD?
Yeah, we have so much on the DVD and a little bit more on the Blu-ray. We have some special effects vignettes. We have behind the scenes part 1 and part 2, and these are long. I mean, these are 15 minutes long each. We do have the deleted scenes. We have a gag reel. We have something called script to scene. We have the 2 commentary tracks that we talked about. We have a festival intro. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We have a link actually to our digital comic book. We created a comic book called Peelers Dark Days Ahead, which is a prequel to the film. So if you read the comic and at the end of it, it's to be continued into the film. We have hard copies of that comic as well that we're going to be giving away. We have so much to give to the fans, and I think that when you make an indie horror film and the films are out there, I think you want to get them to buy the DVD and to enjoy it, to keep it, to hold on to it. And if you just have the film alone, yeah, that's okay, but to have all these extras that no one else gets to see, that's the selling point right there.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially today where it's so easy to see movies online on video on demand and stuff, and to put all the cool extras on the physical copy of it, really makes it worth buying.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you watch the film, you walk away on VOD, but if you love it, well, do you want to buy just the film? No. You want to have a hard copy? You get all these extra features. And they're fun. They're informative, but they're really based on like a lot of the effects stuff. So you get to see how, heads get cut off and things like this. Again, don't want to reveal too much, but there is a lot more blood in the behind the scenes as well.
Yeah. Now, would you save any of the kill ideas or any of the crazy ideas for a sequel or another movie that you didn't use for Peeler?
The dreaded sequel. Everybody always wants a sequel. Even our first film, people are like, "Are you going to make a sequel?" And it's like, I'd like to do original stuff. I'd like to move on and do something different. There is an opportunity to do a sequel to Peelers for sure. I wouldn't say we left it open-ended, but we left it in such a way that we could carry on with another film after. Some of the ideas. Funny enough, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here. In our first film, Skew, some of the items, some of the references actually carry over to our second film. I'm a big fan of how Tarantino takes things from one film to the other.
Yeah, so it's like a whole universe there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole universe. I mean, there's two different films altogether, our first and second film, but there is a camera box that's kind of in the first film that's in the second. There's a beer called Prairie Spirit Ale that the characters drink in the first film. That beer appears and actually gets ordered by characters in the second film. There's so much little things, little Easter eggs from one film to the other. I'm definitely going to carry those things forward from film to film.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one that they spit out, the beer?
That is the beer that they spit out, yeah. And not only that, there is a scene where Blue Jean swings a bat and hits a beer tap. And that beer tap has the name Prairie Spirit Ale. It has the actual label on the tap, which was on the beer cans that the characters in Skew, my first film, that they drink.
Oh, very cool. I like little touches like that.
Yeah. Not only that, there's two actors that were in Skew, and they're in Peelers as well. So one is in more footage than the other, but it's kind of cool. Like, hey, isn't that guy from his first film? So we did that as well.
Yeah. Now, is there a real baby in the movie?
There may be a baby in the movie. Yes. And there may be a fake baby in the movie.
Okay.
Yes. That's all I can say about that.
All right. I was just wondering what, I was to say what kind of person. That sounds terrible. Who would you go to use their baby in Peelers?
One of the great stories we have, and we tell this at every film festival, is we were in production. We were actually 3 days in production, and we had to shoot a scene with a baby. Again, I don't want to reveal how that scene happens. But we didn't have a newborn baby. I mean, why wouldn't someone give us a newborn baby for a horror film? So what do? We put an ad on Craigslist. And that was, independent horror film needs newborn baby. And you think, who the hell is going to respond to this? Within 24 hours, someone actually responded to this. And they said, we'd love for you to use our newborn baby in your film. So they actually came down, and we had them for 2 days. We had an inside shot and an outside shot that we used the baby for. And the parents were on set, and they handed us the baby, and we said, we're going to have to strip this baby down and put sort of yogurt and strawberry jam on it for the sort of effect that we're going to do. And they're like, go for it! So they let us strip down their baby, these people, and we're complete strangers to them. And they were just in awe of filmmaking, so they just loved being there. And we nicknamed the baby Craig because we found it on Craigslist.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we found a lot of stuff through Craigslist. It's amazing what you can find through Craigslist. When I did my first film, there was no Craigslist. So it was kind of neat to be able to find it through the second film.
Yeah. You mentioned your partner in this, Lisa, who wrote or co-wrote with you, that she was in an actual strip club and got some of the ideas. Now, did you go to any strip clubs to do any research?
It's funny because that was the ongoing joke as I was running it. Friends were like, hey, you need to do research. Let's go to a strip club. Or the other producers would say this sort of thing. I didn't go to any strip clubs. I mean, I just used it from my own memory. But, I mean, Lisa is the screenwriter. She wrote the whole script.
Okay.
I'm credited with the story with her. So I was able to come in and sort of add a few things here and there. But it's all from her demented mind. The people that actually went to the strip club outside of Lisa were the actors. When they got the role, 3 of the actors got together and went to a strip club to go drinking and to get closer to each other and become friends. And I guess to quote research, they had to create their dances, so they wanted to go see what it was like at a real strip club. I'm sure they've been to strip clubs before that, but yes, for more research they went, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, where I live, I don't know if you know where Cape Cod is, but there's only one strip club in all of Cape Cod.
Cape Cod is right on the east, so I've looked at it. I know where it is, and it seems like a place where there probably only would be one. I think you'd have to go a little more inland to find more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually, I brought this up in the show because I always find it humorous. If you go to their website, they're known for, like, they have a lobster dinner, and I always think that's, I don't know why you'd order lobster at a strip club, but
Well, we had a few things that you could order in the film, and there's a few acts by the strippers. It's amazing that that some of the things the strippers did, we get such mixed reactions, and people are like, "Oh, that would never happen in a strip club," and it's just like, well, I think in small town strip clubs they can kind of do whatever they want. And that's what makes it kind of odd and interesting. Plus, you're watching a film. You're not going to do, straight and narrow exactly what strippers do. That would just be kind of boring on a film. So we wanted to have a few twists. So I'm sure you got a kick out of that, being with only
definitely.
one strip club in your town.
Yeah, exactly. Not just my town, all of Cape Cod, but yeah. So, will you work again with Lisa?
Oh, absolutely. We're working together on another script. We finished another script that we're shopping around. Funny enough, it's a family film, so it's a complete turn from horror films. And we're working on a few other films as well. I've got a few of my own on the side. It's a lot of stuff's in development. It's a finished script. We're sort of shopping it. We're not going to go into production or even pre-production quite yet. We're in promotion mode for Peelers. We've got a few months of doing this. And this is kind of what we're focusing on right now.
I do have a question. It's not about Peelers, but when you mentioned being a colorist, what does that actually mean? What does a colorist do?
So I've been working in film for a while, and I did some work on production. And I wasn't a big fan of being on set. There was a lot of long hours, lifting a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of people doing a lot of different jobs. I sort of went towards post, sitting in a room, editing, having either one client or no one, and it was a great. And coloring is when you finish a project, be a commercial, a film, a television show, and it's locked. And what locked means is they finished the editing, they've locked it now, no one can mess with the edits, and they bring it to you and you color balance it, because when they shoot it, especially a show, let's say a reality show, or in our industry we call them factual, when you have those are run and gun. They're camera guys, they're just shooting as they go. So everything's blown out, or the colors are off, they don't match. That's no fault of the cinematographer or the cameraman. They just have to get the shots, and they're doing what they can. When it comes to me, I have to balance all that. So that's my job, is to sit in a room with no lights, no windows, by myself, 8 to 12 hours a day, balance all the colors, and then the client comes in at the end and watches it with me. And that's where I got a chance to do a lot of editing too. And I think as a filmmaker, especially indie filmmaker, editing is the best thing to start as an education, because then you can see from the ending point what shots you need. And I was able to take that experience, bring it to set, and okay, well, do we need this shot? And in my head, I'm editing it as I'm shooting. I'm like, no, we don't need that shot. That's a waste of time. We don't need that. Let's shoot another shot so we can keep on time. That's important.
And you learn all different aspects, I think, when you're editing. Not just one particular part of the movie.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much you learn from it. It's incredible. And even how many takes that you need to do. Like sometimes you think, let's do another take. And you probably got it in the first or second take, unless, someone in the background coughed or they dropped something. It's in indie film, you need to move, and you got to make your day. That's so important.
Now that you made 2 features, if we have a lot of people listening to the show who either are independent filmmakers or would like to become one, even low level, like make a short or something. What kind of advice would you give to them?
I always tell everybody, never give up. Resilience. Making a film, you have so many doors shut in your face, so many phones slammed down, so many people saying no. You have to have thick skin, and you just have to keep going and get it done, because for every 9 no's, you're going to get 1 yes. You're going to find someone that wants to help you and get it done. So my big advice is just keep going. And my second piece to that is finish the film. Yeah, you want to go in and make sure you have a good script. Don't rush to get it done. Have a good script. Be resilient. Get the film done. Call in all the favors. Always thank everybody. Always smile. Always be happy. Never be negative. And when you're in the edit room, don't just sit and go, I'm done, and it's not quite done yet, or throw it off to the side. Like, really finish that film and get it out for the world to see. Yeah, you're going to make your mistakes. You always do. Let that happen in your first film. then you can have a film that's finished and go, I did it, learn from that, and then you move on to your second one. No film is perfect. Even a filmmaker like Scorsese is still not happy with the films that he makes today. He wants to be a better filmmaker, and you have to be that way. You can't be complacent. You have to be a better filmmaker. I am far from being a good filmmaker. Like, I'm okay, and I'm just going to keep making films till I get to be perfect, and I probably never will be. So, resilience, keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, real quick, I know it's nothing to do with horror, but you mentioned Scorsese a couple times. What's your favorite Scorsese movie?
Oh, well, there's so many older ones he's done as well, but I don't know, man. Wolf of Wall Street just kicks ass. Haven't had such a great time in a film in a theater than Wolf of Wall Street. I just sat there and I laughed from start to finish. I thought that was an amazing, amazing film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Taxi Driver. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and Goodfellas.
Absolutely.
Raging Bull's great too, but probably those two, either Goodfellas or Taxi Driver.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really love his older films much more than his newer films. But if I were going to put a finger on the new one, Wolf of Wall Street, it just made me laugh. I just had such a great time.
I have to admit, I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street, even though I'm a huge Scorsese fan.
Now, why is that?
I don't know. I think the subject matter doesn't really interest me, but since it's a Scorsese movie, I think I don't know why I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not as violent as his previous films. He goes. Yeah, the subject matter is a different direction for him, so for sure.
Mm-hmm. So the website for Peelers is peelersthefilm.com, and you guys are on Facebook, also Peelers the Film, and on Twitter. And is there any way for people to follow you online?
I'm sort of an anti-social media guy, and I don't want that to come across negative, but I'm more of a face-to-face guy. I'd rather sit and have a beer with you and talk with you. That's going to be hard with the entire world if they want to talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a way for people to find you at your house and go to it?
Yeah, here's my address. Oh, wait a second. No. If you just send a note through the website, there's an email address there, which I think is peelersofilm@gmail.com. You can go through the Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff that you just mentioned. I'm willing to talk to any fan. You want to send me a note, I'll talk with you. And Skew, people are asking me questions about the ending of the film, because Skew is like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to put all the pieces together to figure it out. And you have to pay attention from start to end in Skew. So if anybody has any questions even about Peelers, or they want to chat with me, feel free to get a hold of me. I'm not a social media guy because I don't want to spend all my time on the computer. I mean, I'm already on the computer editing. Sorry?
It's addictive, and it can it take you away from being productive.
Absolutely. I spend all my time doing my editing in the computer, and I've got to check emails, and I've got to update the websites for and the Facebook for Peelers, and yeah, it's fun and all that. But after a while, like, I've had enough. I need to go out and have a beer or hang out with some friends or get back to writing. I mean, writing is one of the things you got to be fully disciplined to be able to do, and if you fill your day up with social media, I mean, you have nothing left. And also, a lot of people put stuff out there about things quite frankly, I don't really care about. I don't want to have to sift through all this stuff to find the stuff that I want to know about. So I'll just call my friend and ask him a question, as opposed to get on Twitter or Facebook and send him a message.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can get on the Facebook, and then hours later, you've just wasted all this time.
Exactly. And then people dig that. That's totally cool. That's just not my thing. I've got other things I've got to do. So yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a lot of fun talking to you.
Nasty Neil, I appreciate you having me on the show. You got a great website, and thank you for reviewing the film. I believe Jason reviewed the film a while ago, so please say hello and thank you to Jason for me, and just keep cutting off heads out there, man. Keep going.
Exactly. And like yourself, I'm a fan of all different kinds of movies. Like I said, I love Taxi Driver, Goodfellas. And so it's not just horror movies, and it's not just one kind of horror movie. But if you like just a fun, gory, gross out at times horror movie, Peelers is definitely one of the really fun ones.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we wanted an action horror film with a lot of fun, and everyone seems to be digging that film if that's what they're looking for. And you will not be disappointed. We have some twists and turns and some good characters and some good stripper acts. So please check it out.
Very cool. Well, thanks again.
No problem, man.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.
Ciao.
Hi, I'm Pancho Moeller from Rob Zombie's 31 movie. I play Sickhead. I'm coming at you. You are listening to Without Your Head. Stay tuned.